Hello, welcome. I am the Grand Geek Geezer, talking comics since 1973 and all things comic related. And today I'm joined here by my fellow geezer, Ray, an honorary Vulcan and Star Trek aficionado.
Yes, I just flew in from Starfleet Academy to join you.
Looking very, very official.
Yeah, this is the closest Star Trek looking hat I have. It's actually the hat of a soccer team in England.
The effort is appreciated. The effort is much appreciated. Today, folks, we're going to talk about season 10 from Discovery. No, not Discovery.
Nope. Strange New Worlds.
Wrong one. Strange New Worlds with episode 10 titled New Civilizations. So, it was the finale. Is it the end of the series? I don't know. There's rumors. We don't know.
No, it's not.
No, it's not. They did
season 4 trailer, and they signed up for season 4 trailer.
Okay.
Yes, there is. Yeah.
All right. Wasn't sure. Had mixed reactions with this. Mixed reactions.
Yeah. Based on one of your earlier episodes, you said the same thing about the.
Well, I can't say I hate it, but I can't say I love it either. There's things that they hit right, and there's things like that just like give me a break. Maybe we should talk about the good, maybe.
I think it's almost all good.
Yeah, it is. They definitely hit a lot of points here. They did a tip of the hat to the old stuff, and they went with new stuff. But I just want to say that Ray, you see this here? You see that? That is the Star Trek thing of when you get godlike powers. That was done in this episode where no man has gone before. Right. So evidently, when you get godlike powers in the Star Trek universe,
your eyes light up.
Your eyes light up, and they go,
That's the clue. That's the cue. Okay, you are now a god.
Right. So when that happened to Captain Patel, I was like, oh, here we go. There you go. That's what happens. Let's talk about the good. The romance between Pike and Captain Patel, very grounded. I also like the casting for Captain Patel. In old Trek, TOS, Captain Kirk, it was always a babe, a model, or whatever. She's very attractive, don't get me wrong, but she's not a supermodel, and it adds to her character, and it adds, I think, to the relationship. And they look really good together. Here's a picture here. This is really sweet. They really have a chemistry.
Yeah.
And they sell it well, and it's very, very believable.
Yeah.
So I was taken aback because this series, Strange New Worlds, they tend to sort of ignore things that happened before. So when I'm sorry, this is so late. Spoilers, people. Spoilers. I'm assuming you saw this already.
Yeah, there's got to be spoilers when you do stuff.
So I'm just gonna go spoil it.
Yeah.
So when they're facing the entity, and sudden and was it she touched Pike's hand, and he looks at his hand, and then they have this setting where they have a house together, a cabin together. What it was before. What was your reaction? Did you think they just jumped ahead? Because I thought they jumped ahead.
Yeah, so the entity, I forgot the entity's name.
I forgot it. I forgot to.
Yeah, but
he's on or something. I forgot.
Yeah, I'm usually pretty good at figuring stuff out like that. I couldn't figure it out right away. As I watched it, though, I suspected what was happening, and what I suspected was, and I didn't suspect honestly till the very end of that. Showing them getting older together,
right?
Until when she was in bed, frankly, right? And she was. I suspected something different than what it was. And what I suspected was that what really happened to Pike from the cage, right? That 2-part episode where he's in a wheelchair, or not even a wheelchair. It's like a device that communicate, right? That is really what happened to him. But that as a gift, because she was godlike, as her gift to him to avoid him from suffering. Actually, no, it was when he showed up at the door. He returned. He showed up at the door. He looked normal. I suspected it was her gift to him. Like she knew that what happened to him really happened. Right. It already happened. and
Right.
that we're in the future, and which all she was doing was like helping him enjoy the life that he would have had out of, you know, pity or whatever she love.
Love. Yeah. Yeah.
And that when that the last scene when he opens the door again and he sees that entity,
Hmm.
he was going to see maybe himself in the wheelchair or whatever, and that's who it was.
Hmm.
It turns out it's not exactly that. It was something else, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. It was. I too, and I was getting kind of afraid. I'm like, wait a minute. I thought it would be just sort of like maybe a dream sequence or something like that. But then when he was on the couch and he was scared to go on the mission that he knew was gonna
yeah,
debilitate him,
yep.
and I was like, well, wait a minute, maybe are they rewriting? You know,
Vesda, Vesda. I was looking here to look for the god is Vesda. Yeah,
Vesda. Okay,
yeah,
Vesda.
yeah,
And I was like, I said, well, here we go, because they sort of ignoring things again.
yeah. But I didn't think they would do that. I know what you're saying, but actually, they've been pretty good about staying to the script, don't you think? I mean, not that there was a lot of script to work with.
No, but that's the beauty of it, right? I mean, we only have one episode of the Cage, and they extrapolate a lot for it. I give them credit for doing things. I mean, Spock was more emotional then because they didn't have the Vulcan character, set down. And here, this Spock is more emotional because of that, and it's because he's going on a journey, and eventually he'll calm it down. He'll never totally get rid of his emotions, as we see, but then as he gets older, we see he does, tone it down.
Yeah,
a little bit.
It's a process for him.
Yeah. I even like little touches, like when they go on away missions, you'll see they'll have jackets. They did that in that episode of Cage. Jackets. Then no other Trek has done that really since, or they rarely do it. So I like little touches like that.
Right.
But I was afraid they were going to rewrite the whole Cage thing.
I
had no faith.
I mean, at least maybe you could tell me if I'm wrong. I think what we saw happen was that he lost her. She became this goddess to protect that civilization, to keep the demons sealed, right? So she's gone. So he lost Patel to her role. That was her purpose, right? To be that, right? And now he's alone at the end. Number one's asking him, "Are you okay? You want to talk?" He goes, "Now's not the time to talk." But there was. I don't think it was that episode. There was an earlier episode where he's talking to Kirk, which also there's another episode from another season where he's talking to his alternate self from an alternate reality. Where it leaves open the possibility that he doesn't land up in the wheelchair, right?
But they did cover that before. Every time he didn't wind up being debilitated, being in that wheelchair, Spock would die, and bad things happen to the universe.
Right, because Kirk wasn't there to make a decision to save whatever it was.
But there was both.
And it's like it has a domino effect. So at this point, I think he has to land up being in the wheelchair. I think he's doomed to be in it, no matter what you know.
He has to be. I think there's one thing that drives the storyline that's compelling. That whole scene with them growing old together, is the heart and soul of this episode. It was powerful. It was touching.
I agree.
It covers the one thing about marriage and being together is that till death do you part. You're not guaranteed to go at the same time, right? One goes before the other, and that's that dark day that when you're married you don't really want to discuss or talk about, and they covered it, and she was able, and it was a send-off for him, but it was really more of a send-off for her, so that before she sacrificed herself, she in effect lived that life, and she was able to share it with him. Very, very, very powerful.
Right. She did it for the both of them, I guess, to give him something, because she knew she was going to have to turn to the statue. So that's what she gave to him. So I'll share with you something as a personal thing. So I got emotional watching it. It was very touching for me because I am one of those people who do believe that the spirit is something that doesn't die. And how you say spirit is, it defines. I'm actually going to define it from a scientific perspective, in the sense that if you're ever interested in watching something fascinating, you can go to YouTube and look up Neil deGrasse Tyson talking about death and Einstein's theory of relativity, and the moving train. I don't think this is the episode to get into that, but the idea is that when you die, that your physical being, your physical presence, that which is made up of atoms and molecules, that dies, but essence of who you are lives and is actually transformed into we'll say outer space, into space, because it's an energy, it's a force, it's a force of some kind, right? And the energy, you can't kill off energy. Energy always finds, like the idea of a black hole. When they discovered in a black hole, it sucks in everything. Well, where's everything going? Then they found out there's this radiation that comes out of it. It's called the Hawking radiation, and that's the energy that's in the black hole that's coming out. So you can't really destroy energy, right?
Energy cannot be destroyed,
right? So, or if you destroy it, it still comes out somehow, right?
You can convert it. You can't destroy it.
All right. So I do believe that's what happens to us, and I say that only because I think that explains when my mother passed away. I was pretty devastated about it, and I got the impression from somebody talking to me about my mother communicating back to me, and she was very specific where she communicated back to me that only this woman would have never been able to know that was the case. And I won't get into what she said, but this woman was able to tell me, your mother says XYZ, and I was blown away. And she's in a place, she's very happy, right? Okay. And a lot of times people say that, they just say those things. I really believe what was being told to me. And I think that comes from this sort of force that you're out there and you can communicate back and let those who are suffering or in pain, or you want to communicate with, or you can communicate. Maybe there's an issue if you can or can't, who knows? And I think the scene here, just tying it back to this, when she's in bed, she says, I'm not going to die. I'm going to be, I think she looks out the window and there's a shooting star. She goes, I'm going to be out there somewhere. And I really do believe that. I sincerely believe that. So when I saw that, I'm like, wow, that really blew me away. And it really touched me in a way. And I thought about my mother, and I thought about, how all of us were getting older, as geezers do, right? And one day that'll happen to us, and what happens to us. And I choose to believe that, we're still around, just maybe a different universe. Who the hell knows? I don't know. Who knows? I don't know. I just don't think we disappear and it's over and it's done. It's darkness and that's it. Yeah.
This is going to seem cold and callous to me, but now we go on to the problems. It's very touching. Absolutely.
There's no problems with this episode. I love this whole series. This whole season was absolutely great.
I kind of got a little emotional.
Okay.
During this, it was very powerful. I like them together.
Right. I'm drinking Romulan whiskey. Romulan whiskey to
Romulan Ale.
Romulan Ale, right?
Which is a band. So we talked about the cage. So we know where he ends up, right? In the cage, he ends up with her.
Right.
No, I'm sorry. He ends up with her. No, actually, no. He ends up with her. If you remember,
they're working on a tight budget back then. Yeah,
right. Well, if you remember the cage, they were masters of illusion, and they kept they kept making her appear in different ways to appeal to him. And this is how she really looked, because she was disfigured by a starship that crashed years ago. Okay. And he was in bad shape, and they thought they could put him together, but at the end of the episode. So here's my problem. Right? Here's my problem.
Okay, go ahead. Sock it to me.
If they give him these illusions for them to live happily ever after, right? Why wouldn't he think of Captain Patel instead of this girl? I'm sorry, I can't remember the character's name.
Yeah, but wait a second. Patel becomes a statue.
Well, no, but okay, but this is
Patel is a goddess. She becomes that statue. That whatever the statue being.
Yeah. No.
She's gone. She's gone.
But wait a minute. But if they give you the power of illusion that is so realistic, okay.
Right. So it's a woman. So it's a woman that's there.
But why not her? Why?
Because she's a statue.
But I can do whatever I want, so I can live the rest of my life with her not being a statue. If that's the love of his life, which that was my impression.
Yeah, but if she's a statue already. It's already done. She's a statue. He's now going to live his life. You can't she's gone. She's. It's not like she died, right? You're thinking of them being together, her dying in bed. No, she turned into a statue. No, she turned into a statue. No, her. I'll try to say it to her. Her skin and bones turned into a statue.
Okay.
She's
This is
not
what I'm
dead.
trying
She's
to
a
say.
goddess.
This is what I'm trying
And
to say.
she's busy doing her goddess stuff. She can't hang out with him in a cave.
Dude, this is what I'm saying. Look, they made her look like this, right? When she
But wait,
really
that's not Patel. But
like
that's not
this.
Patel, right?
That's my point.
Yeah.
If I'm supposed to live out my days in an illusion that's make me happy,
Yeah.
I'm gonna pick this young chick that I just met
Because it's not
over
totally
Patel.
fictitious. But it's not totally fictional. In other words, there is another human being that you're sharing your days with. It isn't totally fictional, right? So it just happens to be this woman that's disfigured. So in other words, your choice would be screw this disfigured woman, let her stay disfigured, and let her watch Pike get happy with Patel and get
But it
it
doesn't
on.
matter. I mean, look, they turned into the green chick. In fact, that's the green chick that they showed at the end of every episode.
Right. See, this is what you did. This is the Vulcan episode, and I think you're being a little unfair. You're a vicious Star Trek follower.
No,
You're a very knowledgeable one.
You
but
can make it if that's the love of your life.
It makes sense. It is, but she's dead. She's. It's not even she's dead. She's a statue. That's the way I see it.
You know how I ultimately had to resolve it? That's also ultimately resolve it as this. It's sort of like he's a widower. She died, and he found new love with this person.
That's it.
And that's the it makes it. Well, it doesn't make sense.
She's a statue.
She's not a statue.
She is.
I mean, I'm sorry.
Her body transforms into a statue.
But the aliens, they have the power of illusion. Okay.
But they're not the same aliens there on that planet. There's a different set of aliens.
It doesn't matter.
This woman that needs a companion, and here's a woman.
It doesn't matter. The idea was to make both of them happy, to live comfortably, because they're disfigured and not only that, they're
right. So then that's what they did.
They have deformities. Okay.
So all right. So you want him to be. I see what you're saying. You want him to make love to this disfigured woman. But let's not get crass about it. You want him to be with. You want him to be with the disfigured woman. But imagine he's with Patel.
No, but tell them this is what I want to be. They read their mind and then they make the illusion come true.
But that's not fair to the woman. She's her own individual person.
Well, she was willing to be a green chick to make him happy.
That's not. That's not her decision. That's the producers.
Well, no, they didn't know, obviously. Yeah, but see, that's what I'm trying to say. This is the thing I don't know if they think about.
I think they think a lot about it, and I congratulate them on their approach. Look, here's what I'll say. In fairness to them, they have to take. They didn't just do references to the original series. They did references to upper decks, lower decks. They did references to the Patrick Stewart series. Maybe they didn't do a lot of references to the Enterprise one, but they made references to, and they had to do this all in 10 episodes. I'm sorry, that's a lot of work, but I thought they did a really good job at that.
But I'm saying if I'm retiring, right, and I'm in bad shape like Pike was, I mean, you're in a box and you can only beep yes or no, right? Okay. Which, by the way, how bad do you have to be?
I saw a third button on that thing, though. Yeah, did you ever notice there's a third button? What's the third button for?
I don't know.
Is it maybe?
Maybe. I don't know.
In the bathroom?
By the way, I won't go for another tangent, but like, how bad shape do you have to be that future medicine can't do anything with you but put you in a box with 3 lights? It's really bad.
Well, yeah, it's almost like Ted Williams' head in a jar that's reserved somewhere. It's going to come out and be put on some.
So anyway, so the idea was for him to be happy, to live out his days. But if she's the love of his life, wouldn't he pick the love of his life to be happy with?
But it's not for. All right. So all I'm saying is that I think if they did that, all you would then say, and people that would be critiquing would say, well, what happened to this woman? She doesn't get to be herself. She has to be someone else. Because she's clearly in love with him, Pike. She's not imagining Pike to somebody else.
She was willing to be a green chick to make him
happy. She wasn't willing.
That's her.
I know that, but that's a different circumstance.
But in all fairness to them, I will tell you this. In that opening of the cage, which I always found very strange, Pike was tired. Like, he's like, I don't want to be captain anymore. It's like it's too hard. They just lost some crew members on the previous mission. They don't show you. Yeah. And to me, this adds more weight to that, you know?
I think this particular season, he looks more tired. He looks worn down. in the season. Yeah, is that what you're referring to? I'm sorry. Yeah.
No, I was referring to in the cage. When you open up
gotcha.
the cage,
Yeah.
He's tired and wore down. I'm like, this is a strange way to
right.
To
he strikes me as a guy that had all the qualities of being a great captain, but if he had his druthers, he just want to be in Montana on his farm. That's really, you know how we sometimes take approach. We work in life to working at something. That's what we do because we're good at it. Not necessarily what we like to do, not necessarily our choices. So he strikes me as that. Whereas Kirk likes being a captain. He likes the idea. He relishes it.
You said the magic word, Kirk.
Uh-oh.
The magic word is Kirk.
Oh, God.
For this episode, the magic Kirk.
Captain James Tiberius Kirk.
Is there too much Kirk? I think so. Kirk had no reason being in this damn episode. That was the worst part of this episode.
I disagree.
You disagree? It's
he's meeting Scotty. I thought that was one of the coolest things. Like, hey, just call me Jim. And he's bonding with Scotty.
They have to. That has to be earned.
What do you mean earned?
I mean, they're already playing chess and stuff. I mean, all right, look. In this here's
I don't think the Federation's like up their ass with like this regimented. You know, like in the Army, like in anything, I guess. If you get caught up with your title and you want people to kiss your ass, you could be like that, or you could be the type of leader.
I don't have a problem with the closeness. What I mean is that they're pushing it too much. He's on the damn Enterprise more than he's on his own ship.
Well, remember the other episodes, he wasn't necessarily captaining it, right? There was someone else captaining.
No, he's just there. That's the problem.
Well, they were all docked. Weren't they going on leave? They were on leave, so they were hanging out.
No. Here's another problem with the scene I have. You see the scene here where they're talking to him?
Yeah.
They're talking to him about the mind meld, right?
Yeah.
So he's only first officer. He's supposed to authorize you do the mind meld before I talk to my captain, okay? And I'll pilot the other ship. What?
No, but I think in that episode something happened to the captain and he had to take over the ship.
No, that was season 10. That was the one with
No. I did think the
captain was sitting behind. I'm sorry, I didn't cut that scene. The captain was sitting behind him while he's flying the thing, and him and Spock are in sync. Why?
Wait, hold on. Clarify for me.
I'm ready to hit you with a lot of shit. You haven't
clarify for me what you're talking about, because the captain of the Farragut was disabled, and Kirk temporarily took over.
No. You're thinking of a different episode.
Right, but it's still continuing. That into episode 10, it's still the case. He's not a captain yet.
I did not think that, because when they show the scene, I'm so sorry I didn't get that vid cap. When they show the scene of him piloting, there is a captain in the chair. Okay, behind him in the captain's chair while he is piloting. I am pretty sure that the captain recovered already. I think it was
a she. I don't think no.
It is a she, and there's another problem with that too. Now that is a she. Here's the other problem. Okay,
what's the problem?
The captain of the Farragut, is a Vulcan. That is a big
female Vulcan.
No. Spock was the first and only Vulcan.
Why couldn't it be that she came after him and passed him?
She didn't come after him. He was, when they showed the original series, they talk about him being the only Vulcan. He joined Starfleet Academy.
The only or the first?
Huh?
The only or the first?
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, see?
Never argue with a lawyer, ladies and gentlemen. Never argue with a lawyer.
I said a lawyer there. I think they spend hours thinking about just a particular scene to make sure that they do it justice.
I don't think they do.
I think
go for it.
Okay.
Let me set the scene for you again. Okay, let me set the scene for you again. It's episode 10 now. Okay,
right. You're not gonna break me. I love this series.
I will assume that he's. No,
first of all, the series is the first series in a long time. Might be the only series that really was an episodic series. Like every episode was.
Yeah. It was its own thing. Yeah.
They had a little carryover. And I kudos to that. I thought that was awesome.
Okay, kudos to that. But can we get back to this thing again?
Sorry, guys. I was trying to divert your attention.
They get him at a bar.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which is fine. It was very unorthodox. And I'm telling you, he there's no way as acting captain he's just suddenly gonna do this. They don't need him to pilot the other thing. There are other people who could pilot. Anyone could pilot another ship. But we have Kirk, and we're always going to drop Kirk in all the time. He doesn't belong there.
All right, this is like your argument with the green chick, right? We're geezers, so we use the language.
We're just going to put it up just because why not? Let's put it up again.
Right. So here's the thing: you're conflating a show's ability to have the money to do X, Y, Z, and therefore making a decision with the actual show, that what's happening in the show. Those are two different things. So what I mean by that, they have only a certain number of shows before Pike gets into a wheelchair, because I think that's ultimately what's going to happen. To get Kirk familiar. Yeah, you do.
You could do 30, 50, 100 shows before you even
yeah, but there's money involved. They clearly don't want to pay for past the fourth season, so that's it. Remember, he only has 10 years before this happens, and they think now it's seven years before it happens. So could you? Yes, but clearly the studio said, okay, this has run its course. Plus these actors, they're getting older. They have other careers. They're actors. They want to do other things. So let's assume the fourth season is the end. Well, how are they going to fit in? I mean, remember, they still got to introduce Sulu. They still have to introduce.
They don't have to introduce
Chekhov.
They don't have to introduce any of them.
Yeah, they do.
No, they don't. This is the story.
I think they
do. Enterprise.
You know why I think they do? Because I enjoy it when they do it.
Well, that's what they're doing, right? Then they're just pandering to get. So I'm watching 4 seasons of basically a backdoor pilot to get to the main show, which they want to do.
Well, you are watching 4 seasons of a prequel. Yeah, it's definitely a prequel. You got
more specifically a pilot, because let's just put Captain Kirk in the chair and let's put Sulu over here.
No, I think you're minimizing by saying a pilot, Grand Geek Geezer. I know I bow to you, but
you don't have to bow to me. I mean, it's you like what you like, but Kirk adds nothing to this episode other than I'm Kirk.
All right. Well, let me ask you this. I mean, clearly, they had cost issues on the original series, and no matter how much they tried to kill it, it didn't die. And in fact, it was like, and the fact if it's seen a tremendous success, it's like an FU to the producers or the studio that wanted to just drain of its resources. It's like, when you teach in a class, and when I used to teach in New York, I used to teach like sometimes the worst classroom in the worst neighborhood or whatever. You become very creative all of a sudden. You have no pencils, kids. You have no markers. You have no notebooks. But we're going to learn today, and those are sometimes the best classes. So I think that's what happened with the original series. They were just cutting back. They reused some of the props for other things, right? Okay. Sure. So you have a situation where for the Gorn, I don't want to curse you thing, but this freaking rubber suited Gorn that moves slowly because lizards.
That was the best they had at the time.
Right. That was the best they had at the time, right?
Right.
But you also learned that the Gorn were actually this advanced civilization of lizards that were able to do these amazing things.
No, fairness,
and in this,
they were advanced, right? We knew they were advanced because he was a starship captain. We just never saw their ship or anything.
Yeah, but I'm just saying. But how do you like the comical thing about it though is they're advanced, and here's a guy in a rubber suit. That's what I'm trying to say. And that in this season, they actually did more justice to what the concept of the Gorn. That they were. It was more like an alien type of thing.
Yes and no.
You didn't like that either.
Yes, yes. You want to know why I have problems with that? The first time we see a Gorn is when Kirk fights the Gorn on that planet. The first time Spock and Uhura see a Gorn is on the screen on watching Kirk fight in a planet. Here, which I thought they were going to stick with just young Gorn, never show any adult Gorns. Of course, they show Spock and Nurse Chapel, taking on a Gorn in a spacesuit. I guess technically not seen, and then on top of that,
which I don't understand. What's wrong?
The
you
navigator.
Want them to bring back the rubber suit?
No, what I want is this: if the story is no one ever seen them before Kirk fought them, then they shouldn't be seen. So
hold on.
Story about the Gorn.
All right, time out. All right, now I know what you're saying. Do you know for a fact that in the original series that was the first time that they have seen the Gorn?
Yep. And now you understand what I'm saying.
All right. Well, listen.
I thought there was I thought there was tiptoeing around it by only
if
showing young Gorn and talking about other Gorn.
okay,
But then eventually they faced all Gorns.
If that's
time on the
if
planet with a female Gorn.
okay, all right. If that's the case, I'm not going to argue with you that they're, they took, I guess, what's it called? Not poetic license, but I guess whatever, to say, okay, that's not the first time they saw it. This is the first time they're seeing it. I don't have as much of a problem with that because to me, the original series wasn't that episode wasn't about yes, that was the first time we saw him, but that wasn't what the episode was about. It wasn't about, oh, that's the first time we saw him. It's about the battle between him and the Gorn, and here's this race of lizards that have advanced. Who cares if that was the first time or not? Like that's like a subplot. And if when it comes to subplots, if they're going to minimize subplots so they can introduce a faster, more intelligent, and more convincible Gorn, I'm for that. I don't mind that. Does that bother you a lot? I mean, it's hard to be very true to the original series. And if that's the case, the whole deck would look like older than the original series deck.
Well, I think
right?
I think I need to make something clear because I don't have a problem with update in visual effects. I don't have a problem with that Enterprise, that pre-Kirk Enterprise, looking as sleek and futuristic as it does. I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with the tech making the phasers look better. Any upgrade, the Enterprise fine. I don't have problems with that. What I have problems with is that you have a set universe and you have laws of things that happen. And if you're doing a prequel, it's like sometimes you ignore it, sometimes you don't. And that's a problem. Either you follow,
but it's only a subplot, Carl. But it's only a subplot.
But it's not a subplot. But
what about the carpenter that made the equipment in there? You're ignoring.
Well, I'm trying to tell you is that
it wasn't around. That made this. The engineer, the carpenter, whatever made the deck. You're saying that. They should. Then you made.
No. You're confusing again. No. I don't have a problem with updating technology to today's standards. I don't mind the pre-Kirk Enterprise blowing out the original one that we saw from the 60s or even the movies. I don't have a problem with that.
All right.
That's not a problem.
But why is that not a problem?
Certain things that happen or don't happen. Well, if you've never seen the Gorn until Kirk was captain.
But why is that important to that episode? It's not important to that episode.
It is because the whole thing they never see him. It's sort of like.
By the way, did Kirk see the in this season? Did Kirk see the Gorn?
No,
I don't think Kirk. Right.
No,
okay, so maybe. So are you? That's why I asked you. Are you sure in that original series that it was Kirk that didn't see the Gorn for the first time, or everybody?
Oh my God! This is again arguing with a lawyer.
I'm trying.
No one from Starfleet had ever seen a Gorn until Kirk fought it. So Kirk was face to face with the Gorn, and the crew from the Enterprise were watching on their screen because those aliens allowed them to.
Okay, I'm just asking for clarity, just to make sure.
And I'm just trying to say, you're doing a prequel, but ignore things like that.
But the thing is, I know, but the episode to me wasn't about it was the first time seeing the Gorn. It's the fact that they had to battle the Gorn, they had to defeat the Gorn. The Gorn had these special. That's what it was about. Not as who cares if it was the first time seeing them?
You do care. There's another science fiction show that's slightly older than Star Trek, Doctor Who. It's been around longer for them in the 60s. Everything is canon. Everything. So if it happened in the 60s, it happens in 2025. Whatever. You don't ignore it. And you just ignore it. When you go back and
then they should have to. Well, you know what they call? Then they could have the entire deck of the Star Trek. They didn't have to make it look advanced. They could have made it look like an earlier version of the original.
You're confusing upgrades in technology with ignoring canon.
It's also a look. But it's also a look.
No, but it's two different things, Ray. When you make something look, because you have the technology make it look better, I don't have a problem with that.
I do.
When you mess with the storyline, then I have a problem.
All right. But there are people that have a problem with the look. And you're saying, all I'm saying is you're making an exception for that, saying, well, no, that's okay. I can accept that, but I can't accept this. I'm saying to you that I can accept that and I can accept this. Now, if it was something major, I'll give you an example. If it was something major, like number one in the original series when she was with Pike, okay, who ended up being the future Mrs. Roddenberry, but that leaving that aside. If it turned out that say this that she was a human being from Nebraska, whatever, and now they're making her into this whatever that species is, right? Yeah, that's a major change to the character. Like, what are you doing?
Ray,
you're making her something she's not.
But Ray, they should fit. They don't fit. The stories don't fit. If it's a prequel, things should fit. So I watched the prequel, it's okay, and I watch.
Well, why doesn't it fit? Why doesn't the Gorn fit this year?
It doesn't fit because everybody's basically seen the Gorn. So when Spock and Uhura and Scotty on the bridge are looking at the Gorn, they're like, "Oh, never seen like that before. Fascinating." Yeah, you see that?
Yeah, but why is that important that they say, "Oh, it's fascinating"? That's a subplot. That's just a comment actually in the show. But that's my point.
Because they've seen them already.
But who cares?
I care.
If the original series, let's reverse it. Let's say that the original series came out after this season, right? And Spock says, I guess you're saying that one of them said it's the first time that they've seen them, right? Who cares?
Ray, it just doesn't fit. Like, how about Khan? Khan, here's another, right? The security officer, right? She's Khan, right? She's a descendant of Khan.
Yeah.
Right?
Nobody knows exactly how she's related, right?
No, they know.
She's not. She wasn't born in SETI Alpha 5
No.
or 6.
No.
Right.
She's a natural descendant, The time,
okay, right? I thought they killed them all off except the ones in that planet. But okay.
Somehow she's a descendant.
Okay.
Okay.
That's what I mean. Okay.
Yeah. Right. So now the episode Spacey, great episode, great Ricardo Montalban playing Khan, is awesome. But Khan's awake and he's in their little holding cell, whatever like that, and everybody's sitting around the table, right? Not quite remembering who Khan was. Which is fine for the episode because it's ancient history. Except, I don't know, Spock, Scotty served with a person called Khan. You think they would remember,
what do you mean served with?
Well, and the Pike Enterprise, the security guard, she's Khan. Her last name, I can't remember her first name right now. That's the one that's dancing with Spock now, right?
Yeah.
So you would figure, so no one recognizes the name right away. No, so that's what I'm trying to say. It just sucks. This retconning just sucks.
But they don't recognize it this season for a reason, because it hasn't happened yet.
But according to Strange New Worlds, it did happen already. He served with a woman called Khan, who was a descendant of Khan Noonan Singh. It's very annoying.
But who knew that?
They knew that. They did. They're doing the prequel. They know it already. They just put her in there because her last name was freaking Khan.
Didn't she, when she landed up going to Earth, right?
That was a good episode. She was with Kirk again.
Right. But that wasn't the same Kirk. You know that. That was a Kirk from a different timeline.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
I know.
All right.
Kirk.
All right. But why can't it be just a different timeline for that?
Because they haven't established that, and that's not the point of that. The movies with I forget the whatever they call it, the Kelvin universe.
Yeah.
The movies. That's a whole alternate reality. This is supposed to be the one that we know. That's my problem. It's not great storytelling if you just ignore.
They're minor problems. They're minor problems. I love this series. See, I mean, if those are the criticisms, to me, it's not a criticism that bothers me enough to make even a comment. I might comment on it, but I'm not going to be disappointed about it. If there is a criticism I have of this past episode, it's like some of the episodes, like where they're all dancing for the whole episode.
Some of the episodes are just are
they're like and the Vulcan thing. Even though I agreed, like that was a little weird. That was weird, right?
Yeah, that whole, cool episode. Here's another thing.
And then the idea that I'm supposed to believe that number one is in love with the stand-up comedian. I forgot his name.
There's that, right? There's the holodeck episode, which is really horrible.
No, come on, man. They did a good job of it. That was a test. They were trying to test run the holodeck.
Oh my God! Well, first of all,
and at the end, Pike even said, "I don't want let's keep this in minimum. Let's put that solution to having its own server. Let's put that as a little footnote. We really don't want this out there because it's not perfected yet." I mean, they took care of that.
Here's a couple of problems. Yeah, they did say that. For something that was not perfected, it was pretty damn good. It looked better than it was in Picard era. And Picard era is like 80 years in the freaking future.
Well, again, now you're blaming the studio for not having the look the same. You make up your mind.
No. What I mean, no. What I mean is that it's supposed to be a prototype.
All right.
It did not seem like a prototype. It wasn't glitchy enough. It was very, very advanced.
All right. I mean,
the story sucked. You got Kirk in there again for no apparent reason. And here's the biggest problem.
Yeah.
Unoriginality. Do you know how many Star Trek episodes there have been where like, oh, something's wrong with the holodeck? It's tiring. It's very unoriginal, it's uninspired. Okay.
Not
I don't
from this
like
season.
the episode with Trelane.
Not from this season. You mean from other seasons?
No, that was this season.
There was only one episode with the holodeck.
No, other Trek shows have done this to death already.
That's what I'm saying. In other seasons, other shows. Yeah.
Right.
I know.
So it's unoriginal. I'm tired of it.
So you're gonna knock all.
You don't have a problem with
what are you gonna knock them all? Why do you even follow Star Trek? Don't follow Star Trek. Go watch Star Wars.
No, I follow Star Trek like that scene with Pike and Captain Patel going all together for stuff like that. They do get stuff right. That was very, very.
I think and look, I think I said it at the beginning. I think they get more stuff right than wrong. I think they do. I think they have to try to. I know you don't think they have to try to fit in a lot, but because it's a prequel, I think they do have to fit in a lot.
No, but you don't have to shove Kirk in every episode unnecessarily. It is tiring. It should.
I like it though.
If he's in there, I don't like it. It's too much Kirk. He's just there.
I don't like the guy that plays Kirk.
Put him in the damn captain's chair already.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the actor that plays Kirk, but you know.
Oh, and that's the other thing too. Isn't he horrible?
Yeah, I don't like him. I mean, Kirk Shatner seems to like him a lot. He says that of all the Kirks that have played him, he's the most accurate. I don't know why he says that, but
I don't know why he says that either.
Yeah,
I don't see what they see.
I don't see it. Oh, by the way, they still haven't introduced McCoy. So you're saying this? So you're saying this, even though it's a prequel, and literally it's a seamless transfer from Kirk being the head of the Farragut or first in command to taking over the Enterprise.
I just told you the bumps in the road.
No. The process when Pike gets affected at some point, he gets the radiation thing.
Yeah.
Somebody has to be the captain of Enterprise, and it's Kirk. There's no intermediate captains. It's him, right? So you're going to all of a sudden then come up with McCoy and Scotty and this guy and out of the blue, all of a sudden they're all assigned to the Enterprise with Kirk in charge. I don't know. I don't think that's realistic.
Here's the thing: there are characters who just show up, who are unexplored, who they can do things with. The problem with Uhura and Scotty is that when they beam down, they're not going to die, right? If you give us other characters that made one cameo, and you try to fill out a story for them, then it's interesting because then they could die.
Gotcha. They need more people to die.
They need more undeveloped characters that they either need original ones or just make or just fill out their storyline. Because example, Kirk and Spock don't become friends. Gary Mitchell is supposed to be his friend, his best friend.
Well, they're not best friends. They're friendly. They're colleagues.
This guy here, right?
Yeah.
Gary Mitchell, that's Kirk's friend. He had to kill him by the end of the episode. And even in that episode, Kirk and Spock weren't close, but you could see a bonding happening because he apologized. He apologized for not being emotional, but we have to be practical. His power's out of control.
Well, but that's for the Kirk time. That's for the Kirk episode. So maybe the first episode of whatever this new Kirk is going to be, which it may not be the same. But which may not. By the way, they're not necessarily committed to this guy that's playing Kirk being the Kirk when they do the original series again. They're not committed to that.
I don't see. Here's my fear, right? I don't want you to redo the original series. I want original stories.
Yeah. I don't think they're going to do the original series scripts and stuff. I
think there's a love affair with updating things.
Yeah,
and you're just going to redo the episodes because we have the technology make it look.
Well,
better.
Where did you read they were going to
want that?
But where did you read they were going to do the original series in the original like the?
I said I have a fear. I didn't say it was. I have a fear.
I would think that they wouldn't do that because that never works. They tried to do it with the Odd Couple twice. I can name a bunch of other shows if I had to, but it doesn't work.
I
I do predict that Erica. This is just I'm going off tangent.
Yeah.
I predict that Erica Ortega is going to die.
Oh, Ortega, you're right. Ortega. See, I like seeing. See, even though I didn't like her
because she's mentioned in the original series. I mean, in the original script of this original series.
Oh, she is. I didn't know that.
Yeah, Roddenberry actually had her as a character instead of Sue in that series. But I think in terms of when they put the characters together, the studio wanted an Asian person to play that role.
That's what I'm talking. Well, I don't know if the studio wanted that. Maybe Roddenberry changed because the studio is very, very racial. But anyway, that's a different topic. But the point of what you said is what I'm talking about. I mentioned in the script, never appeared, and then so they took that and developed the character.
Yeah.
Right.
Don't they get credit for that?
I want more of that. Okay. Dr. Mabenga. Okay. He appeared 2 episodes, I think.
Yeah, but he was there.
Yeah, no, he was there.
Right.
And that's the point. You developed him. Now you find out he was this like
that's cool.
Army Ranger.
I agree.
Who became a physician.
See, I agree with you. I'm on the same page with you. All I'm saying is that look, if the criticism is they have to look, I've seen this with other shows I love, especially when they're told you only have 1 season left. They cram a lot of shit into that last season that and just doesn't make it as good. I did that with Game of Thrones. I did that. They did that with I can't off the top. There's a lot. It happens, right? So, but that's that's strictly monetary versus. Versus right, but the people that are writing, but the writers for the show, the actors for the show, the director, they have to work with what they're given. So if they're told you have 1 season left, go with it, and they decide, you know what, let's try to do it justice. It's never really done well, but they at least try. So let me just point out that the reason Ortega's, I think, dies is because she's claimed to be some sort of a hero in a Lower Deck. She's referred to as a hero of a war hero. So I'm guessing that this 4th season, which probably is the last, something happens in there where she died. Okay. That's why I'm saying that. But the expanding characters, right? Mm-hmm. I agree with you there. Where I disagree and agree with you at the same time is and I'm not trying to argue, that's just different thing. Is that instead of having an episode where they're singing and dancing, instead of having an episode where they're doing the room, what's it? The
holodeck thing?
The holodeck. Instead of having an episode where they turn into Vulcans and they get that sort of go. Those are 3 episodes. You could have instead, right, made more of a story, either expanding the characters or being more loyal to the original story. And trying, right, exactly. That's the criticism I would have. But that's why I agree with you that they should. But all I'm saying is that what they veer from is, in the scheme of all the things they've had to do to make it accurate and tie it in, is not that important.
Well, right, but because they made you only had 10 episodes, right? So you named 3. You didn't even mention that wedding episode, which was horrible.
No, well, it was horrible, but I never liked those episodes with what's his face, the Q character.
Well, So I mean, what they did.
I know. They fused
he appears there. I know. For nothing. The episode ends the same way.
I know. They fused the two. Right? They fused the Q. They fused the Q guy with, I forgot the name of the original. Let me see if I can find it. Right. Trelane.
But here's the thing. No. Here's the thing. It's my Spider-Man. Here's the thing. Without any commitment, they use John Delancey, who is Q, Captain Picard's Q. They use his voice as the parent to spank Trelane to send them back home. Therefore, they're trying to. It was supposed to be like a gift to the fans that say, "Yeah, it was a Q all
You don't like stuff like that. You don't like a little wink, wink, inside joke thing. I like that stuff.
When that's the best part of the episode, 5 seconds, I have a problem.
All right, but here's what
now, think about it. 10 seasons, right?
Oh, I agree. But in fairness, I don't like any of the Trelane episodes. I don't like any of the Q episodes, and I didn't like this one. But
ladies and
given
gentlemen, I'm sorry.
that they've done
You
like
can now unsubscribe. This man does not like Q.
no,
It was the
no,
great
I
John
don't.
Krasinski.
I think that
So
I always thought that was
I
a
apologize.
silly character. Because the reason I thought it was silly is because I thought it was silly in the original series. I thought it is. I sort of like the idea that guy could be 8,000 years old and be a child. Okay, fine, great. But what was silly is that he's that powerful and he chooses to play games.
Yeah.
Right. If you're that powerful, you're going to do a lot more damage because human beings, well, not the human being, but he could have done a lot more damage. So I find it silly that, well, he doesn't really do damage. He's just a kid doing stupid things. Well, even kids do stupid things, like they take guns and shoot people, right? So, I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Boy.
I'm just saying that. I'm just saying kids unintentionally do horrible things, right? So he's never done anything horrible. Q's never done anything horrible. Chennai's never done anything horrible.
Okay, Q introduced the Borg to the Federation. And it turned out he was trying to help them.
Yeah.
So that's big.
Okay. I still like it.
We could spend another hour.
I know we can.
I don't want to go there.
I'm sorry I talked too much. I didn't mean to talk as much. I know this is
no, not talking too much as now you're pissing on Q.
Why can't I do? I have every right to piss on Q.
We're gonna get banned, right?
Okay.
All right. Look. All right. I'll just wrap up my.
I'll say one more criticism.
All right. Go ahead.
I never liked the idea of is it Scott Bakula who played the captain in Enterprise?
Yes, Captain Archer.
Yeah,
yes.
Didn't like him at all.
Well, that show to some extent was done poorly, right? It was supposed to be a prequel
to Star Trek,
showing us the origins of the Federation, the beginning of the Federation, and they came up with this Time War thing, and it went astray. It didn't run as long as they wanted to. The final episode was controversial. I could do a whole other thing about it, but I will tell you this: what Scott Bakula was hoping to do, and producers hoping to do, is give them a new series called Star Trek United, where Captain Archer is now President Archer, and they're trying to. It is after the Romulan War, and they're trying to establish the Federation where. He has wait. He has some children, and one's in Starfleet, and one's a diplomat, and there's gonna be a lot of cloak and dagger kind of stuff. So that would be very interesting.
I'm saying something a little different. I don't like the actor that played that role. That's what I'm saying.
You don't like Scott Bakula?
Nah.
Ray, are you trying to get like the two people that subscribe to me to unsubscribe?
I don't like Scott Bakula. I don't.
That's what you're trying to do.
I don't.
Scott Bakula?
He's not my. Just like I don't like the guy that plays Kirk in this Stranger Worlds. I just
two different things, man. Scott Bakula is really, really good.
All right, listen. For those of you who don't like what I said, feel free to reach out to me on Diamond Geezers. Leave Carlos, leave Grant Geezer alone. It's all my opinion.
Thank you for subscribing. I understand now people won't subscribe now.
And thank you for having me on.
Thank you. You know what? We're just going to abruptly end this because I don't know where to go. All I'm trying to say is that I don't mind the technical advancements. I like the sleek new look. They should do that. I think they should just follow canon a little more closely. And I don't want Kirk forced down my throat every single episode when he's not even supposed to be on the ship. That is all I'm trying to say. Okay. And with that, thank you guys for listening. Please like and subscribe. We are the Grand Geek Geezers, part of the Geezer Media Network. Just check us out, and I don't know what to say. Live long and prosper, and nanu nanu.